That's a huge issue because the negotiating team this time around for the 7th round of talks is going to be much more conservative than its predecessor. So key personalities on the team, like the Iranian Atomic Energy Organization chief Mohammad Islami, Deputy Foreign Minister Ali Bagheri, the Foreign Minister Abdullahian, these are all individuals who are more conservative, indeed more hardline than those that they replaced from the outgoing government of President Hassan Rouhani. So it really is going to be difficult to imagine them giving more concessions than the previous government was willing to give to certainly Western negotiators, even China and Russia, who are also part of this JCPOA talks in Vienna. So it's difficult to imagine, given the fact that the 6 rounds of talks was difficult in and of itself, leading up to June when talks stopped. It's hard to imagine them happening any easier, any more smoothly, given that the Iranian government is more conservative and more hardline going into these November 29th talks.
So how come the Iranian government is continuing on with their nuclear activities, expanding that and saying that they're going to be continuing to do so until sanctions are lifted? Doesn't that kind of go against what they're trying to achieve?
It does seem contradictory in some ways that we fully do expect Iran to continue to develop its nuclear program, even through talks as they resume and as they move into the new year. But there are several reasons why Iran is developing and advancing its nuclear program. It's a major national security prerogative. It's a major sort of economic achievement. And it also, as Iran develops its nuclear program, it gives Iran leverage that it can sort of trade away in talks, sort of future rounds of talks. So there are a lot of reasons why Iran is developing its nuclear program. There's also legislation that in place that compels the Iranian government to continue advancing its nuclear program. But it is, of course, going to complicate talks because the primary demand from Western negotiators, and certainly from the United States, for there to be any sort of agreement in which Iran can see sanctions relief, is that Iran does freeze developments to its nuclear program. So that is one of the big questions going into talks is there a way that Iran would be willing to freeze some aspects of the development of its nuclear program? Is there something that Iran's negotiating team, this more conservative team, is there something that they would be willing to be more conciliatory on, freeze it so that they can obtain some sort of financial relief? There has to be some sort of starting point that both sides can agree on for us to even get into some of the meatier parts of the discussion and all the other aspects of the JCPOA deal that all sides are trying to sort of revive, see if it's possible to revive at this point. So we do expect there to be continued nuclear development advancements through the talks, but it is a big question of there has to be something in there, some sort of files that this Iranian government might be willing to compromise on if they actually think that they will be getting that sanctions relief.